I want to change gears right here.
Yeah.
Dude, you're traveling with your family. Talk a little bit about that. I know for me, it's real important.
Yeah.
And it's without that connection, I don't know, I'd still be doing it 23 years later.
Yeah, I don't think you can. You know, that's like my pet peeve. You hear, any kind of kid that's getting into the game.
Yeah.
You hear older guys telling them, well, make sure you don't get married, make sure you don't have kids.
Yeah.
Dude, that was, not to pick on people that maybe haven't got married yet or hadn't had kids.
Brandon Pollock. Had something in my throat. I'm sorry.
Dude, it was suck. It was suck for me. Not to have them to at least participate in it.
Yeah.
Dude, there's no way you can drive all day long by yourself and then fish all day long by yourself and then come back home by yourself. That would suck to me. So, they get to come with me when we have summer tournaments.
Yeah.
Obviously, in the wintertime, it's a lot more, difficult to get them to come along.
Yeah.
But anytime we got a tournament June on, usually they come with me, and it's just, that's actually a part of the dream come true for me. Everybody says, winning this, I want to do this, I want to fish for pro. But I never saw myself doing it without my family.
Yeah.
Even before we got married. I'm sure she could talk about that.
I do want to put you on the spot. Did you know what you were getting into with all this early on?
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
During I guess the courting, dating stage.
Yeah.
I guess it was like a given. It was like an invisible contract there. He said, I'm going to fish. I want to fish for a living, and you've got to be able to handle that. In other words,
So this is before you guys get married. This is you're dating. Yes. You're starting to get serious.
Yes.
And Brian hits you with this.
And I said, okay. Well, I'm for any guy that has a true passion.
That's awesome.
And a dream, and he's chased it since we've been together.
Yeah.
So it's awesome.
Wow.
It's good stuff.
That's awesome. Is it surreal that he's successful, that he's doing something he dreamt about now?
Oh God. It's amazing. I feel like it's mine too.
Yeah.
I'm going to get emotional.
I'm already starting to cry.
I know. I am too.
Dang it! Can we talk about crankbaits?
I know. This is Ike Live. That's the thing. You have to be honest. Yeah. It's like the steel lasso that brings out the honesty.
That's what you get for having a woman on the show. But I just remember the days of I want to do it professionally.
Yeah.
Is it going to happen?
Yeah.
What if sponsors say no?
Right.
So I remember the days on the couch of wondering what if, and then tears then.
And it's a struggle.
So
it never comes easy, moment. Too. Yeah.
Right.
It never comes easy.
I don't have that start that a lot of younger guys had.
Yeah.
I didn't come out the gates like flaming,
Right.
Very slow. And that's slow. Still learning. Still like a long way to go. I don't want to make it sound like like now it's it's over and done. But my story is not I hate using names, but since I'm using a positive context, I think it's okay. But I don't have a Jacob Wheeler story or Jordan Lee story or a Palinick story or any of those guys.
Yeah.
That's not my story.
Yeah.
My story is it's a lot of sucking.
I think it's better. I think it's better though.
Oh, dude, so much better.
When I stop and look historically at guys over the years, and again, I won't name anybody, but the pros that have a lot of longevity, that had those slow starts, dude, they're so much stronger in the middle to end of their career than a lot of guys that burn bright and then go away.
I'm really thankful for it, mainly because what you just said. Of course you have fishing buddies and all, and I can't. One of my pet peeves is when you're talking with people, in practice or whatever, and first 4 hours. First day of practice, dude, I hadn't had a bite. I'm like, dude, we're on a lake we've never seen, and it's 4 hours. It doesn't work it never works that way.
Yeah.
So, having all these tougher years, when it's kind of, we go to fisheries and it's tough, it's like, okay.
I know you started fishing just like a lot of us.
I don't even remember starting.
Yeah.
I don't have a memory of the first fish or start. My pops was a tournament fisherman. So
your dad was.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I just grew up around it.
Yeah.
But took it on really early. like really, like probably younger than him. I remember being so like tied into it at a very early age, to the point, you know, where you're a kid, I would do projects. I'm drawing boats, I'm drawing fish. I caught an 8-pounder when I was 9 years old, brought that for show and tell, like all that kind of stuff. You know, all
brought
that.
the 8-pounder.
Yes. The mount, like we mounted it, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah, if you watch my YouTube, that's the first clip on when I did my winning moment from Seminole. It was that fish that I'm holding in like the first 2 minutes of the video. That one right there.
That's awesome.
I was visioning you having it in a cooler, bringing it in.
I caught it in a tournament. I actually caught it in a tournament.
Wow.
Yes, it was in a tournament.
What?
Yeah, never caught a bigger one until I was in my late 20s. Before I caught did my personal base when I was 9 or 10 years old. So yeah, I grew up around it. Tournament fished behind my pops in the club. $25 tournaments, $40 tournaments. You know, just fast forward until, you know, teen years. I got my first boat as soon as I graduated from school, which that seems like really old nowadays, right?
Yeah.
These kids have them like when they're 14. But I was 19. Yeah, I bought my dad decided to buy a new boat. I bought his. Make sure you understand this. I had to buy his boat, his old boat, and ran it like 2 months, blew it up. So I had like a year in there where I was scrambling, trying to get money to fix the power head on his older boat.
Yeah.
Didn't really get to fish that much. And then, am I lying, Brooks? Is that what it is? So I'm going to, at this point, you know, I'm going to, I didn't go to college. I went to 4-year college. I went to 2-year tech because I always knew I wanted to fish. I couldn't imagine being separated from my boat and home, and that didn't make sense to me. So I went to 2-year tech, stayed at home, fished and worked while I went to school. And I ended up jumping into the BFLs like 2 years after I graduated from high school, and the same thing everybody else does. Fished BFLs until 2007. I won one time, and that financed me to be able to fish the EverStart series. Started fishing the EverStart series. I didn't really do well there. Upstate of South Carolina, all of our lakes are polar opposite of everything you'll ever do in the rest of the world. Like nothing else in the entire world is like the Savannah River chain.
Yeah.
So that, you know, that didn't really help when I started fishing away from home. There was a huge learning curve there. Matter of fact, one of the first fisheries I ever fished away from home was Lake Seminole. I never fished braid until I was like, you know, in my 20s. Never caught a smallmouth until I was in my 30s. So even though I'd been around fishing, get out and exploring everything that fishing had to offer, I was just now still experiencing a lot of that. But you know, that's all my path forward as fishing is concerned. But you know, a lot of people always ask, you know, how'd you afford it and all that. And dude, I just did whatever I had to do. She can tell you, we never went on vacations until like recently. I never wasted a whole bunch of money I never got to do a lot of that stuff that most normal people do. It was always, my vacations were fishing.
Yeah.
But I ran a landscaping company. I fished so much that, a very long story short, I fished so much that my pops had to end up firing me. So I ended up having a cold turkey start at my own company, and ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me. That allowed me the flexibility to have my own crew, my own staff, my own equipment, go and come as you please, and I got to make more money so I could actually afford to do what I needed to do. So I've done everything from stonework to mowing grass, lawn chem work, masonry work, just whatever. Whatever. What do you need me to do, dude? Just whatever I had to do, I did it. I've changed light fixtures, outdoor light fixtures, outdoor lighting, irrigation. I just tried to figure out anything I could do to make some money, so I could fish.
You talk about your pops, and I read or saw this somewhere that, you know, he said, Brian, you know, keep fishing, but do it for fun, you know.
Well,
and that had to be a really difficult conversation.
Oh boy, that was a very pretty picture. When you painted, that was very ugly. That's painted very pretty.
He's our resident nice guy.
Yeah, that's very nice.
He turns everything nice.
It was not that pretty.
No,
not that pretty.
Keep wheelbarrowing river rock.
Yes. That's a real deep conversation. I don't know how deep we want to really get into all of that. You got to remember, obviously, the elephant in the room. My dad's old school. He's in his mid-60s. Grew up in the South at a time, where black people couldn't own businesses, couldn't buy houses, we couldn't do stuff like that. And my dad's one of that first era of guys that kind of broke through that threshold to own houses, own businesses, own things. And so in his mind, when he was doing all of that, he's preparing a way for his family and his kids to have a better life. And then I turned a teenager, and instead of doing the Susie Orman deal, let's save money and run a business and turn a $1 million company into a $10 million company. I say, Dad, I want to fish for a living. You remember how I want to sleep in my truck and all. So, and I'm painting this real pretty. You can see she's like smiling. So there's a lot of like, no, dude, don't do that. Don't. That's stupid. You're never gonna make any money doing that. You can't do that. So I had to deal with all of that. And I don't want to paint it like my dad's a villain. It actually ended up being the best thing best scenario that could ever happen, because it made me so strong and thick skinned, and like I don't really care what people think anymore. But yeah, so there's a lot of give and take, a lot of pushback from home about trying to do this fishing thing. Yeah, and I think at some point he just kind of figured out, like, I think he's gonna probably do it. And especially in my little small area, there's a lot of kids that are doing it too, but their parents maybe bought them a boat or paid their entry fees, and he never gave me a dime. He wouldn't even sign for me to get financing on my first boat. My mom had to do it on my first boat. So I had to press through all of that, and at some point, I was saying all that to say this. At some point I was complaining about, some of my other buddies are starting to really the careers are starting to take off, and I was still fishing BFLs, and we started at the same time. And so I was like, man, dude, if I had help, if I had somebody to do that, I could do the same thing too. Totally false. And he said one statement to me that literally changed my life. He told me that if you wanted to fish, he told me two things. You wanted to fish, you need to figure it out. The other thing he told me was, you've been free longer than I have. And it literally changed my life. I thought to myself, if my dad can grow up through segregation and own a business, and you got nothing holding you back, and you can't turn professional fishing into a career if you want it to, then you suck. And it changed my life. It really did.
A lot of motivation.
Oh, dude, it changed my life. It really opened my eyes, like, duh, you dummy.
Yeah.
Like, you got a head start on everybody. You know how to run business. You know how to do stuff. You know how to make money. Yeah. Everybody says they can do it if you have money. Well, you know how to make money. Yeah. So just make the money and do it. Yeah. And so it just changed my mode of thinking, and it really kind of like just from then on, I could see myself doing it.
Wow. Cool story.
It's an amazing story, and